just depends on if all the modules that we need to work in Drupal 9 also exist, and if not, we'll keep it at 8, but we'll be starting with 8.9, so upgrade to Drupal 9 should be easy, depending on if the contrib module support is there, which I'm fairly optimistic that it will be, since the upgrade path is fairly straightforward. So the reason for doing this is, one, I have a free weekend, and it seems like a lot of people build Drupal sites differently than we do, or when we hire new people who have done Drupal, they've only worked on it in like 6 and 7 in a way that's super terrible. And so just to show people, hey, this is how we do it, works pretty good for us, and it's not too hard, and you could do it yourself too. And so this will be, and my thought was, this could work as like a training material for onboarded people, for our company, that you can just watch, like how I go from we have designs and an idea, and how I get a site up and running pretty quick. And I mean, I don't think it's physically possible for me to actually build this entire website in a weekend, but I don't know. Maybe it is. Not 100% sure where this will end, but we will see what we can do. And let's get started here. So, what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and switch this to my screen capture. So, what we have here, I guess, for people who are not familiar with us, I will go to codequalis.com. This is our current website. This was built by me and a couple other people who maybe still work for us. I don't know. Back, 5 years ago. It's been a while. And you have, so there's just giant hero. Because my screen's so wide, it doesn't look the greatest, because I give this hero image that auto adjust based on the screen image size. We live in Kansas City. That's the Kauffman Center there. So you get your idea built right. You get the old scroll down thing. I don't know if people still do that anymore. And as you scroll, it fades away, which, I mean, that's still nice. And then as you get in this stuff fades in. Your idea built right. I feel like at one point that might have like slid or something. I don't know. But it's the same thing. Here's all white, and here you get our brand colors. You scroll down, get some kind of call to action, another call to action. That needs to get updated. Oh, it's almost like we don't look at our website. And then you get some case studies, and it doesn't look that great. You get some clients, you get a testimonial, you get some blog posts, you get a footer. That's the home page. Services page kind of just shows like, hey, this is... Oh, it's Sean. Here's some stuff that we used to do, or do, like, hey, we can work on these things. Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and use the... So what is that? That is CPU. Okay, so I need to watch my temp. So I am both recording and streaming, and... and it is quite high resolution, because I'm on an ultra wide, so it's like 3440 by 1440. So if you're not on an ultra wide, I'm sorry, it's gonna be a little rough. That's just what it is. And I'm just not 100% sure how well my computer's gonna do. It's a Ryzen 9 3900X. I assume it's going to do just fine. But for some reason, I have an AMD graphics card, and OBS did not like the default encoding for streaming. It was like, I don't like that. So I did the CPU one. I felt like my CPU is more than good enough. It shouldn't be a problem, which, you know, might be accurate. So I'm just going to go ahead, since, I mean, I know for a fact no one is streaming this, And I don't really expect people to be streaming this too much, but I was hoping it would be decent to watch in the future. But you know what? I'd figured I'd go out and tweet this thing out. So currently rebuilding the code koalas site from Drupal 7 to Drupal 8/9. I'll say site in Drupal 8 or 9 live on Twitch. Should be boring. Hashtag Drupal, hashtag live stream, hashtag program, hashtag PHP website. Yeah, whatever. I don't know. Throw some hashtags in there. See what happens. Okay, blah, blah, blah. And I'm fairly confident that that link I sent, if someone goes to it, they do get to my channel with me live streaming. Sweet. Okay. And I do have... Okay. Yeah, so scrolling back through here, we got the services. It shows, hey, we do stuff. Hey, we're PCI compliant because we do not like credit cards on our own servers. Case, I like how it just says case. That is case studies. So they're just, more in-depth blogs. So the fading thing, like, depending on stuff, it doesn't work great, but you can go in and it's just like, it's like a long form blog post. I'm sure you know what a case study is, and it just talks about what's going on, what we did. So that way, this is, I think these are kind of our larger things that help us sell, because it's, you can show it to a client, be like, hey, look, we worked with clients that do things similar to you, and this is how it worked. That's interesting. Process, we do things in a way. Our team, which I'm sure this page is out of date, it just kind of shows, hey, we have people that work for us. Actually, it is up to date. Look at that. Blog, and then here's our actual blog post based off of people in the company that write blogs on their personal site or wherever. They can also get those posted on the Code Qual site if they want. And then work with us, which I believe is just a contact form with a map to where our physical location used to be. Oh man, that's how it always works. We updated the address there, never updated the Google Map pin, whatever. So that's the current website. It's not terrible, but it's not great. We've done much better stuff than that. But really, the main issue here is it's old, it's out of date, and there are certain things that are kind of a pain to use because the way we built landing pages back then is not how you would build landing pages today. On Drupal 8, we would use Layout Builder. The blogs, we also post our blogs on Medium, which is, whatever. And there are better ways to create them on your website and then syndicate them out later to Medium. Right now, we're just kind of posting them in both places, which I know is not the best. I'm sure there is tons of things that are done incorrectly that we could do better. The actual editing of blogs and things in here is not the best user interface. I can go in and edit something, and that's right, we have a markdown editor, which I personally am fine with, but a lot of people don't like. And then it's well, wait, how do you get images inline? And we have this inline imager thing. It's a whole thing. We can do better, and so that's what I am here to do. So So then this is kind of our process of doing work. It's easier because there's not really a client, and I can kind of just do whatever the heck I want within reason. Where normally when you're doing a project, you have a client, they have expectations, they have secret people who work there who you don't know about, and then at the last minute are like, wait a minute, it doesn't do this thing that it needs to do. But here, I have designs, and I know what the current website is. I can figure out with my best judgment how to rebuild it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the designs, and luckily the person who designed this also went ahead and created all the tickets for us, but we're going to pretend like that didn't happen just for the sake of you're a developer, you're looking at design for the first time, or you're trying to look at the design and figure out how would I create this into tickets so I can pass it off to my team and I can get this built. And that is what that's what we do. So that's what the process I want to walk through here. And these designs are in Adobe XD, and it seems like it is struggling right now to load. Let me go ahead and just duplicate that tab and see if that's gonna help. Let's unpin that tab. Hey, go home. Come on. Hey, that looks like a loading page. Maybe. Okay, so just looking. Whew, it is going slow. I don't think it's this, but if you look at that, CPU is chugging. Man, yeah, I really need to figure out that the GPU encoding, because that's a lot. Hey, look at that, it finally loaded. Okay, so we go to the website, and hey, wouldn't you know, like all websites, it has a menu. Now, one unfortunate thing is that our designer did not give us mobile designs, which is a big no-no for actual clients. But this menu is so stinking simple. I don't even have to think about it. I know how this is going to look on mobile, and I'm just going to go ahead and do it. It's going to be a stinking hamburger button, and it's going to slide down, and it's going to show you the things. It's going to fill the whole screen and stack, and there is no sub-menus, so there is nothing to worry about. That will take a couple minutes to make, so that's great. Alright, then you got some kind of hero image, and you'll see on this time, it looks like we're not trying to go for a full-height hero image, which is great. It just looks like, it's fairly tall. It may be even just fitting the size of the content inside of it. But you have a title, and then inside that hero image, you have a title, you have a body or subtitle, multiple call to action buttons, and then you have a right side which has our latest work. Okay, so now this comes into where I'd ask a question of, should this always be our latest work up here, or is this really a custom user can drop whatever the heck they want? And because it's the homepage of our website, what if our latest work is not the thing we want to show on the website? So I mean, that's minor, but I would ask that, and I'm gonna ask that. It doesn't really change anything, because how I see this then is this is a hero with two different sections in it. One of it is like a WYSIWYG, basically, where you type whatever you want in this hero. And then the other one on the right is some dynamic piece of content, or it might end up being another WYSIWYG, but it's not necessarily tied to the left. So we can go ahead and build it and create another spot and say, hey, some other piece of content goes in the hero here. Oh, and I see these dots. I wonder if this piece right here is a rotator. And like I said, there are tickets created, so there may be answers in those tickets already. But this is just, how I'm going through and looking at the design. So right away, we use Layout Builder in Drupal 8 and 9. So this is going to be a block. There's going to be a hero image block type. It is going to allow you to upload an image. I'm not 100% sure how I want to handle the responsiveness of it. I don't like this, and this is something I've wanted to personally be working on to get better at responsive images, is that sometimes you can just scale it and let Drupal cut that image up for you automatically and it'll be fine. But other times you can't do that and you need the user to be able to upload multiple images. I don't know how to do a mixed approach that's a little bit of both of those. I don't know if that is physically possible. I mean, obviously everything's physically possible. I know I said that. But so I'm just not sure the best way to do that. So I don't know how exactly we're going to do that, but that is going to be a thing, is that this image has to also look good on mobile, and I can tell in Drupal just to scale and crop it, but then they're going to be like, well, I mean, they're not going to because it's us, but it'll be like, how come it cuts off and it's just this little square over here? It's like, well, because we cropped it, because it's mobile. So that's our hero, and then we scroll down and you see, hey, we still have like the brands that we've worked with, so we're going to keep that. We have a sponsor content type, and where you will give it a title, like this one will be called Hemp or Hardcross, and they're going to have a logo field, and that might be it. But I do know what we would probably want to do is, when we create case studies, like, so we have this case study for Chicago YMCA, we're going to want to be able to reference, say, this case study belongs to this sponsor, so, or not sponsor, company, I don't know, partners, that might be the better word, the companies we work with. So we're going to want to do an entity reference on those to know that they're related, so that way we could maybe in theory have this clickable. If you click the YMCA, it will take you to a page that lists all of the case studies for the YMCA, or all the blog posts that reference the YMCA, or something like that, because that sounds like something that would be cool to have, instead of just like, I don't know, it's a bunch of random things. And then they probably also will have a field for the actual site's URL, so that way you can go and, so maybe from here you click it and you go to hardcross.com and you can see the site we built for them. So we'll just scroll past. Those are easy questions to get answered, but this is a view. And then probably we are going to use the default Drupal flag of promoted to homepage. Or maybe it's a random sort, and every time someone goes to the page they get a slightly different order. Which isn't true, because the page will be cached. But that means every time the cache flushes, you'll get a different order. That would be okay as well. But probably promoted to the front page, because we probably want to make sure it's the people that we currently work with, or the newest people we've worked with, or the biggest name people we've worked with. Instead of just like, putting really small stuff or something. They're like, oh yeah, but that was like 6 years ago. I don't know. Cool. Then our latest work. So I'm reading it to see if, based off reading it, if I can get an idea. Okay, so it looks like, based on the words there, and which is not a great way to test it, because, I mean, this is the designer just writing whatever they want to write. But it looks like, based off the words here, that this... So the latest case study, so this would be more like, so once again, we're using Layout Builder. So this would be a 2-column section in Layout Builder, and the left one is a WYSIWYG. They just wrote whatever they wanted. And then the right one is a Drupal view pulling in the latest case study. And once again, that might be tied to a promoted to the homepage flag. But those are two separate things. This doesn't appear to be content coming from this, so this is just someone's creating a landing page, and that's how they decided to lay it out. And then same with this. Now, unfortunately, they did use the same name on all of it, but I am assuming that this is the latest case study, and this is like the second and then the third case study. So that does change what I previously said. So we could go either way. So what we could do is we could say, okay, this is the case study block. And on the case study block, you get a WYSIWYG where you can create this section. And then we're going to go place the 1, 2, and 3 case studies. The first one's going to be more of a featured, and then the next 2 are going to be more of a teaser. We could do that, but that's like a really customized component. And the people building out this page are going to be us, so we can go, a slightly less customized way and be like, hey, you just need to know you need to click these like extra 8 buttons to make this work. So what we could do is, I think when you do Layout Builder, I know you can change the amount of displays. I don't know if you can change the offset, but what we'll probably do is we will probably this is a 2-column section, and then this is a 1 or a 2-column section. I think this is probably a 1-column section. So you have a 2-column section. The first one would be the WYSIWYG. The second one you place in the latest featured case study, and then you create another 1-column section, and then you say the next 2 case studies, and it's a single view that places in 2. Or this could be a 2-column, and we have one that places in the second and the one places in the third. Generally, I try to avoid doing stuff like that when at all possible. Ooh. Hey, it's Donnie. He said stock is better than custom for maintenance. Heck yes. But yeah, so I think that this would be so it'd just be a 2-column and then a 1-column section. We scroll by services. So this is just another call to action. So this is different than the other one. So this one might have to be slightly more customized, because this is more like a hero call to action type of thing. You have an image, and then you have like this swoopity thing, and then we'll have to ask to see like, hey, is this a common design, or is this actually just part of the image? I sure hope it's not part of the image, because then as things scale, it's like, well, the text pops out of the little circle thing, because this is just, clients don't understand how internet works, which is great, because I hope people who work at a web company understand how the internet works, and they'll understand why this just needs to be like the background color on that section. So what I think this is, we probably will create a call to action hero block, and maybe it has a couple styles. So maybe we have one that's this, and maybe we have one, I guess you can't really see my hand motions, but that's just what I by default do. So maybe we'll have one that's like this, and maybe we'll have one that's flipped where the white is on the right side. And then maybe we have another one where the text is centered or whatever. And so then we would probably just control that based off like a checkbox or something when you're creating it, of like, hey, do you want this left, right, or center? And I'll change the style. So on this one, you'd upload an image, and then you have a WYSIWYG, and then a couple options. And then there might also be toggles for the background color. And maybe even the background color could include different transparencies as well. Cool, then what we're writing, so this would be a section. This one's fairly simple, so you'll have a 1-column section here where you put a WYSIWYG on top saying what we're writing, whatever, and then you place in the view that shows the 3 latest blog posts, and it shows them in some kind of teaser format. We'll have to look at how the other, like the all blogs page, yeah, these aren't clickable, but we'll have to see what the all blogs page looks like, because there might be multiple teasers for the blogs. And then we should also look at like, hey, do we have to require images on blogs? I personally am a fan of not putting images on blogs, because because basically what you see there is what mine will be, because mine normally don't have images. They're like, hey, here's a bunch of code and how you can do stuff. So what am I going to take an image of and upload? I don't know. And images, why add images just to say you have an image, because all that does is make your website slower. But so if we don't require images, then what's that style look like? So we'll have to think about that, or we'll just require them. And we'll have to see if there's a different display. But this is a view, prints 3 your latest blogs, easy. And view all blogs. I assume that's going to take you to a blog page, but we could just Ajax in more blogs. I would say that this should definitely take you to a page. Great. Then you have a contact us. I'm trying to think. So this, to me, looks like it might be similar enough to this one up here that maybe what this is you can do it, and there's also a possible content section on the right. So really, this is like another 2-column layout, and all they did here is they just left this right column empty, and then it's empty. And on this one, it's a 2-column layout. They decided not to put the swoopy white background on the left, and then in the right they pasted in an image. So that will probably be good, because anytime we could reuse the same component and just add a checkbox or something, so that way it's still 90% the same styles and not have to rewrite that makes everyone's life much easier. All right, and then we get down to a footer, and it kind of looks like a footer. Nothing special there, and nothing about that really seems like it needs to be customizable. I would probably put the address be customizable, which is easy enough to have be in a settings form in the CMS, so that way if anytime we have our address, so we can avoid what we saw on the live site is that on the contact us page we have the wrong address. We could tie that into the settings, so if we change it in one place, it changes it on the couple places on the website, it shows up. So that's the home page. It's all going to be built with Layout Builder. So I think we landed on there's some kind of hero, there's a content type with teasers, you have 2-column sections with you have a WYSIWYG, and then you have a view, which is, if you're not a big Drupal person, a view is just, it is, if you think about like a SQL view, you can make database, you have stuff in your database and you can say, hey, I want to get these, and then it displays it, but it displays in SQL. So views is the module used for clicking buttons in a GUI and getting stuff out of the database, instead of writing, select all of this with these and the 20 joins it takes to actually get all this. So we're just going to get the latest one in a featured and get the next two probably in a 1-column section, the next two in a smaller teaser thing. We're going to make a CTA thing, I don't know what we'll call it, and it looks like it'll be a 2-column, or so we do have for Layout Builder, we do have some reusable things that are 2 columns, and on the 2 columns there is a setting for 30, 60, 50, 50, 75, 25, where you can change all the things, and all it does is changes a class and it adjusts it with CSS. So it'd be that, and on this one it's slightly more than 50, and they set the white background and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so whatever, and then another 1-column WYSIWYG, drop in a view, and then another, and that's why we want to try to reuse that, is because then this should be the same thing, and we just put different content in it. So great, that's the home page. Now let's go, and the home page, as from what I remember, is the most complicated page, because our website doesn't need to be complicated. Great, so we go to the inside page, and now this is a card listing page, whatever that means. So it looks like blogs. So this looks to be, it could be the same hero as what's on the home page. It might be slightly different. I'm not sure. I also, like I said, there are tickets made already, so I don't want to spend too much time theorizing about what is going to be what. Yeah, so this is blogs. Okay, cool. So, yeah, we have a hero. It says, hey, we have blogs because we write stuff, whatever. All right, then you have a featured blog, and it says latest pinned, so I'm going to go with that. That means we will be pinning blogs to be a featured blog, and they will stay on top. And they'll be orange. You get the teaser text on the left and the image on the right, and then you get down into below that, and you just get the same exact kind of teasers that we had on the homepage. So it looks like we have 2 different types of teasers. We have the left and right teasers, and we have a standard card teaser. That is easy enough to make 2 different types of displays for teasers. And we also show the tags. Oh, okay. So what I think that is, it's not really a tag, is that some might be videos and some might be blogs. Because I know he did say that he had a solution for the videos. And so that's if we do... I mean, I guess this could end up as a video on the website if we wanted to. But if we do a video teaching or something and want to share that there is a way to upload that, because currently we don't, besides like just doing a YouTube embed in the middle of your blog or something, which I personally think is fine. But it's if you wanted to read a blog and you clicked on it and all it was a video. Oh, Justin. Great, look at that. People are watching. That's unfortunate. I mean, it's building a website. It's not going to be exciting, and it's going to take forever. Great, but so I think that's what the video one is. That, and if we have the video, I don't know if there'll be text. I guess there will be, whatever. Cool, same contact us. Okay, so now that's a pattern of maybe this contact us is actually part of the footer. Probably, because that means that seems like a great thing. Yeah, so the contact us is some kind of pre-footer block that is on every single page. Great, so we'll go to the contact us page. Same hero. It looks like the style that we have on our current website. So where you have a giant, where it's like split half, and Eric Rugums, great. So you have some kind of form that, is the fill out us form, and then we show some team members that we have chosen that those are the type of team members that need to show up in the sidebar, probably because they will be the people that you are working with. That seems easy enough. So that's another one we run into, is that there are like employee content type that so therefore when the blogs can say who they're by, that we have the employees on them, we can show the pictures, and then you could go to that employee and see all their blogs, all that kind of stuff. So there is Ryan Wise, the CEO of the company. He has a piece of content that is named him, has all of his information in it, and so that means if you click this on the contact us page, I would think would take you to Ryan's page, which would probably show his email and his blogs and other things on it. Yes, Donnie, it is Tim Apple. Then we go in and we view a full blog. So you see, we kind of get the featured blog display going here. We have that orange, but now the image pops out because designers hate us. So we'll have to figure out how to do that. That always becomes a little bit funky. All right, so you have a hero. So that is an interesting one. So this hero has absolutely nothing to do with the blog that we're reading, because designers just like to waste bandwidth on images. But it looks like it's the same image. I don't know if it really will be. If it really is the same image as the last page, it's whatever. Hopefully it's cached. So we have this orange thing that shows you your title, taxonomy terms, name, date. You have your hero image, and I do appreciate that the hero images are not giant, filling the whole screen, so that'll be good. And then you have all of your text. And then, as we scroll by that, we see on the right, related blogs. So we will pull those by tags, I guess, and if there are not tags that match, I assume we will just pull random blogs or blogs around the same date, or just latest blogs. I'm not sure. So then we have a sidebar where it's showing teasers of people, but I assume the teasers of the blogs, they were images and titles, so that would be fine. It should just work. And then we go back here, and so far that contact us has been on every page, so that will be nice to... That's nice to note that is just really part of the footer. Okay, so then we go here, and it says blog 1. I assume this is the case study. So case studies are basically blogs, but they're just more in-depth and more boring. So we have... Oh, and the case studies, I believe that they have like a PDF download, because they normally are printed out. Like if we go to a client meeting, a possible client, and we give them like printouts of case studies. So we have the title, and I think that this should be tied to that company content type. And you have the ability to visit the website, and it looks like, I don't know if this is just a random thing or if we really are going to be like trying to upload the project into a computer screen. That won't work for every project. So I assume this is just you upload whatever image, and if you want to put in a computer screen, you do. But if it's a phone app, you're going to put it in a phone. Or, whatever. But so you upload some kind of hero image. Now this is where I go into, I'd have to ask, and I'll look at the tickets and see what they say, but it seems to me like I don't want to be so strict and make like a discovery and design field and a build out field and a launch field and an objectives and a core solutions field. I don't feel like that is actually going to be for every single project we ever work on, that's going to be how it goes. So I don't want to do that. I would think it's better just to basically have a giant WYSIWYG field and you put whatever you want. But then also, again, this also might be just another landing page, because some of the case studies, I mean, when you go to other people's websites with case studies, a lot of times they're more like pretty landing page that talk about the project with big pictures and stuff like that. So I'm thinking it's probably a landing page. And yes, we will have them, put in the title, some quick description, a PDF, a link, and an image. But then the rest of this is just like place blocks however you want them. That's how I think it's going to be. Or we can use like the Gutenberg editor from WordPress, which sort of lets you build landing pages in like the WYSIWYG. That could be another solution too, because I'm probably going to be enabling that for blogs. If you want to use it, you can have that, because it is way better than using like CK Editor or something like that. So that is all of the designs. This is a simple site. This is why I was like, you know what? I might be able to do that. Okay, so now what we would normally do is we would go through, and let's see if David was nice enough. No. If he was nice enough to give me access to his Discovery docs, but he was not. But if we go into Jira is the ticketing system we use. It is a ticketing system, and it does do things. He has already created all the tickets for us. So you see that there is an epic of create all the content types. And so it says we have a blog content type, we have a case study, we have a team member, client, basic page, and content. And I don't know why there's no ticket called create basic page. It seems like these should all be related, and if we go on the blog content type, this is generally what you'd want to do when you're making your tickets, is try to be like, hey, after looking at the designs and talking to the client and stuff, these are the fields that we require. We require a title field, description, and the description is going to be a long text field because it's going to be a WYSIWYG, some kind of image, a tag, and it even has like machine names, reference to content tags, autofill as many as wanted, able to add new, and the content type, reference to content type, content type. Oh, yes, this is the whole, so there'll be another taxonomy of type, and it's default blog, but video is another one, and I assume that means there could be other ones, like maybe there's a conference one, like where we did a whole conference or something. And video URL is optional. I'm assuming the video URL is so if it is a video, we can do with it what we want. So you have your blog content type, and then if I go back to here, case study. So we'll see what he says. He says, case study, it's going to have a title, image, mock-up image. So the mock-up image to me means that they do want to have that in like a phone or a computer. But I believe that we can force them to do it themselves instead of trying to let you upload an image and wrap it in a phone or in a computer and stuff like that. That's a lot. Tags, client, yep, so referencing the client content type. Hey, look at that. I appreciate that they had the same idea. Body, they're saying it is a WYSIWYG, short description, objectives, and core solutions. Okay, and now some of these things I'm not going to do what they say because it does say it's a paragraph type, which it might be, but I think that, I mean, when was this ticket was made, like in August 2019. This is why I'm working on this right now, is that this has been in the back burner for quite a while. This right here might be replaced by Layout Builder. So we'll see. And then you need to be able to upload the case study PDFs. Okay, the member content type: title, image, position, a body, team roles. Sweet. Client content type: title, mission. Oh, didn't think about that one. Website link, logo, and body. I don't know what we put in the body at all. I mean, it's easy to put it there, and we can remove it later if it's not really used. Basic page. Show expanded footer. Oh, okay. So I bet you that expanded footer is that contact footer, and we are choosing yes or no of whether they get that. And then it says create basic page. That seems wrong to me that they have that ticket in there twice. Create taxonomy. Okay. Oh, we're looking for this. So you have a team roles taxonomy. Oh, okay. So I guess that means on our people, we're going to actually have team roles. So that we can differentiate people from like developer and project manager and things like that. Create taxonomy, create paragraphs. So I wonder what paragraphs they think we're making. We're making a service paragraph. Title, icon, body. Yeah, I would think so. Okay, so this goes into how I think about stuff. So if you do, so in Drupal, a paragraph is kind of a way to build like a landing page type of thing. It's just like, it's a structured piece of content that you can place places. Sort of like a block in Drupal, but different. Sort of like a field collection in Drupal, but different. They're great, except if you want to reference them other places on your website. You put them once and then that's it. Obviously, with enough code, you can make anything do anything. But so we're saying services. And so services, it'd be like custom PHP development could be a service. Are we really saying that we never want the ability to be able to reference that from another thing? Like maybe a blog post could tie into one of our services. It just seems like we would gain from having services either be like a taxonomy term, because taxonomy terms are fieldable, and we could display them on a page. That could be decent. And then you could, on a blog post, you could reference which services this ties into. So if we ever wanted to be like, here's examples of, like, I clicked on if I go back to the live site and I go, not logged in, because obviously if you're logged in, the site doesn't work right. If I go to services, that's Sean, and go to like Drupal or React or open source, wouldn't it be great if I could click Drupal and it would show all the examples of work we've done that reference Drupal? Or if I click API integrations, I think so. And even if we don't ever want to do that, the cost of changing this to be a taxonomy term so we could do that is nothing. So why not do it? So if we ever want to, we have it. So I'm going to go ahead and say, actually make taxonomy so we can maybe... What is the other thing called? Blogs. Donnie, marketing people don't know what words mean. We use React OS framework. Yeah. I'm assuming what they meant by that is React Native. But yes, we are developing our Windows clone, React OS. Hey, I said the website's bad. So we can one day have blogs, or whatever that's called. Oh my gosh, I've lost it. What is this called? Case studies. There we go. Or case studies. Reference them. Great. Just put that there. Okay, so that's for services. Objectives. So they're saying he's saying the objectives. So I'm gonna just put in here. This might all be false. Got it. Okay, core solutions paragraph, blah, blah, blah. Team member content type has that. Client. Okay, it's saying, hey, there's twig components. This will probably say, so we have a default title, expanded title, minimal title, stack title, clean stack title, or clean stack, slider, sneak, peek. I mean, I'm glad they're named. Oh, but, okay. So this is called the slider sneak peek. Okay, cool. I do appreciate that they're named so that way I don't have to come up with naming conventions. Clean stack. Okay, so like the small card that we're calling a clean stack twig template, and it has a title, image, secondary title, and it's clickable. A stack card, I bet you there's like the blog teaser, right? Yes. Okay, so where you have the image, title, type, truncated body, and a link, minimal tile is, so we have a title, description, image, link. So I guess the only difference is this one shows the image on the left hand side and it's not covered in a black bar, like a black border like this, or an orange. Default tile. Okay, so that's like the featured thing is called that. Okay, so I've seen enough tickets. I kind of just want to get going. So I will explain a couple core things that we do for at least our Drupal sites that might be slightly different than what other people do. So you'll see that there are these tickets here for just creating the twig templates. So what we use is we use this module in Drupal, Drupal components, I think it is. Yeah, pretty sure. So because Drupal uses twig, you can create your components and have them live completely separate-ish from your theme, at least away from the theming layer of Drupal. So what it lets you do is you can have template namespaces, which is just a feature of Twig. And so we can have developers build this Twig template. So they have this image and they say, hey, I need to have these fields, and you can name whatever we want, and you can style this in, HTML, I mean, it's Twig, CSS, JavaScript if need be, and you pass in, instead of writing in like a fake title or whatever, you pass in the Twig variable of title, which is, bracket, title, bracket, and then it will just fill it in with fake information and look right. So you as a front-end developer don't need to know you don't have to wait on the content type in Drupal to be made and all be ready. You can just go ahead and do this. You don't even need to know how to use Drupal. You have to be able to spin up the Git repo and use it, but you don't actually have to click anything in Drupal to make this work. You just, create Twig templates. So that's one thing that is, it's not, nothing I'm saying here is like, oh my gosh, no one's ever thought of it. People do it. It's pretty common. But there are people who've never done it. So that's one thing we do that's different. And then another thing we're doing that's different is, so Drupal, and Donnie, if he's watching this, is going to appreciate this. We have a module on Drupal.org that has the name Quality in it. And we use that. I'm going to find it because I can't. So we use Layout Builder, and by default, Drupal gives you a couple different layouts, but we just created some generic enough Layout Builder things that we use, so that way you can just go ahead and it's, this needs some work, but created some base layout and options that is a good jumping off point for your layout builder needs. So if you download and use this, it's already going to give you like a 1 column, a 2 column, a 3 column, and a 4 column. And they have the options, like I said earlier, for the 2 column, you can change the width to be, 50-50, 25-75, all the basic stuff. Nothing crazy and complicated, but it didn't seem like there was another pack of just like, and these are just basically like twig templates that just come in there all automatically for you. So we have that. And then we have another quality thing, and it's called the quality theme generator. So previously we were using a theme generator created by Media Current, and this theme generator really is what kicked off the whole being able to use components, because if you use their theme generator, it was set up to use the components, and it was a Yeoman script, and it would like scaffold out the twig files for you. But what happened is that was a while ago, and things broke and updated, and I customized it a little bit because it would create the twig files for you, but it would do like 75% of the work. I'm like, well, why don't we do 100% of the work for you? So when you type the command to generate it, it generates it all the way. It would still have like boilerplate code in there. It's like, hey, you need to change this. And trying to upgrade it to work with Yeoman and do things, it was just a pain. And I was like, you know what? Drupal has this thing called Drupal console, and it's a scaffolding tool. Why don't I rewrite that Yeoman generator in Drupal console? And so you run the Drupal project scaffolding tool to scaffold your theme. And so that's what the quality theme generator is. It's basically that Yeoman script, but redone in Drupal console, but it works slightly better. There's a couple things that don't work right on it, because it turns out that I don't think anyone's ever used Drupal console to scaffold themes, because the documentation for scaffolding, if you follow it, doesn't work, and it was updated like in 2017. So it's like I'm doing what it says and it doesn't work. So I just need to take the time and figure it out and get the last couple bugs. But that being said, it does already work better than the Yeoman one does. It just I was like, oh, well, now that we do this, we should make these commands work, and it doesn't work. And that I decided to be opinionated and force you to use a couple things, which, I mean, you can always comment them out. I don't care. To use a couple different projects that I've made that, there they work. I don't know. I haven't gotten that one. So on here we're using this quality Flexbox grid. So we've used things like Bootstrap or Foundation, or I've never actually used like Tailwind, but there's a million things. But basically, I don't want to use a framework that also styles my buttons and does things. I just want to have classes so things have Flexbox. So that's what this quality Flexbox grid is. It doesn't try to be anything fancy. It's just SaaS Flexbox stuff. So if you are building a website and it's going to have a lot of Flexbox, you can use this. Or not. Doesn't matter. But if you use the quality theme generator, it does include it, and all it does is it just adds it as an include on the SaaS. So if you don't want it, just comment it out. And that's one of the things that would be nice in the theme generator is to add like, hey, do you want this, yes or no? And if you don't want it, it just doesn't put it there. And that's just, more work to try to figure out. And I feel like this is documented fairly well, and it's got a CodePen example, and I'll go for that just for fun, just to show you. And I kind of copied, what Bootstrap and Foundation and them do to, get the general idea. So it shouldn't be too crazy. But if you put something with a class of Flex Container, it adds display flex to it. And then you can do like Flex 1-3, and that means it's one of 3 columns. 1-3, 1-3, 2-3, 1-3. And so that's this one right here. This one goes 2, that one goes 3. Like, it's nothing revolutionary. It just works, and it does nothing else but just makes Flexbox classes work for you. And then another one I made is a typography one, because default typography always sucks. So I wrote another one that I just kind of copied what a bunch of other different what between like what Bootstrap and Foundation and reading some different blog posts about how you make typography work better. This is just some defaults instead of just using like the default HTML5 like normalized CSS or a reset CSS that does a bunch of interesting things. This just kind of sets, and everything is variables that can be overridden, but we just kind of set body font styles and families and margins and things like that. And I even on headers on some kind of breakpoint make them larger, because that's always the thing, is that then you go down to a smaller size and you're like, oh my gosh, the fonts are so big. And if you don't like that, you just set the variable to the same thing. But it's nothing crazy. It's just and this one also has a code pen, but the documentation on it is not great enough. It doesn't send you to it. I think it does. I could be completely wrong. I could have swore it did. I haven't used CodePen in a while, so I forget, like, pens. So I think by default they're in the order. Oh, there we go. So by default, this is what it turns your fonts to look like. Like, it's nothing crazy, but if you remove all of this, that's what your fonts look like. Which, I mean, honestly, it looks okay. But that's not normally what clients want. So just some kind of sane-ish defaults, and if you hate them, don't use them. But that's what the project we're going to be doing is going to be using those. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we have the Drupal, the code qualis Git repo, and it's Drupal 7. And now this is where I'm not 100% sure how to do it, so I'm going to do it in a not recommendable way, but obviously it works. So we're going to be using a composer command to create our project, because in Drupal 8 everything's done by composer, and I don't know how to run composer create project into a directory if that directory already has stuff in it. So I'm just going to run it, and then I'm just going to copy it in. So what I'm going to do git checkout b, and I'm going to call this branch d8. And then we'll do this, and we need to basically just like remove star, because everything's going to be different. Remove recursively delete. And just make sure that we still have the git and the git ignore. That's good. Then I'm going to go up. I'm going to paste in this command. Sumdir sounds great. I'll change that just for fun to be called like CK8. So this will. So this is a composer project. So there is the standard Drupal. Hey, I want a Drupal website composer project. The command's basically the same. We have a modified version that includes some, because theirs is very much like, no, this is just the Drupal, because they're not trying to be opinionated. Ours comes with modules that are like, if you build a Drupal website, you want these modules. That's all. And in doing this, I would be very surprised if every command I run actually works the first time, because this is the standard process when spinning up a new site. You're like, oh, these dependencies don't work anymore. Let me go fix some things. So if it actually works first try, that's amazing, because normally this will fail, or another, one of the other things we've built that no one's tried to spin up in a month. It'll be like, oh, something changed, that didn't work. So it's just standard procedure if you're spinning up a site that something will have changed. I don't think I've used this since Drupal 9's been out. I'm fairly sure it's going to pull Drupal 8. And so what I did say earlier, and it's worth repeating, is that I am going to be building this on Drupal 8, but I'm going to be doing it on the latest version with the hope that I can get to the end and then just say actually be Drupal 9. As long as all the contrib modules we have are compatible, we won't have a problem. But I don't want to start at 9 and then find that we have to use a module that's not compatible yet, and then I doubt I can downgrade. But the only difference between Drupal 8 and 9 is they upgraded like the version of Symfony and the version of Twig, and then they removed all the deprecated code. So most sites from 8 can upgrade straight to 9, no issue, and you can even run this little code thing, and it'll be like, hey, you need to fix this thing, and this is how you fix it, and it'll like give you like a git diff that you can just like patch all the files with. So it's not that big of a deal. Great, it is downloading. Oh, what version of Drupal am I getting? Did I miss it? I mean, it should be like 8.9.2 or something. Woo. Hey, I guessed it. 8.9.2. All right, and now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the code quals directory, which has nothing in it, and we're going to say move ck8 star to here. And then that is definitely going to miss some files, so then you do here, and it's missed that. Oh, I need to like, no, that should work. I don't think I have to recursively say that. Get that file. What other file? Editor config, sure. Probably doesn't matter. Get attributes. Why not? Get ignore. GitLab CI. Yep, we're gonna want that. Oh, all of those I did without the dot at the end. I was like, what? I already moved that. Git ignore. Yes, override that. What else? Travis, Hamill, yep, why not? Okay. Then we'll go over here and say site ck8 ls. This is a completely empty directory, so let's go ahead and delete that. Now we've done all of this. Woo! I'm gonna go ahead and just assume that it's probably broken. So we are using, we run all of our sites off of Docker locally, and we're moving to everything being Kubernetes clusters up in staging and prod, but that requires my time to finish getting that working. I think what I'm stuck on right now is getting the IP address of the person accessing the site into the Kubernetes cluster while going through a load balancer. So we lose the which is mostly fine, but we lose the IP address of the person actually coming, and all the IP addresses hitting the site are the load balancer. So any kind of knowing who the person is and getting their location and things like that all get broken. And I'm sure there is an easy solution. I just don't have it yet. But we use Docker, and hey, look at that. Gosh, that's so that's probably don't work. Okay. So we use Docker, and locally for Drupal there's this thing called Doxel. It runs Docker containers with your Drupal site in it, and it gives you like a couple helpful-ish commands instead of having to, teach all your people to run all the actual Docker commands. But it's not that different. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and we're done. Now let's see if this actually works. Hey, it worked. So we're there at yeah. I'm not sure, Donnie, if there's a point of running Kubernetes, for your personal thing, except for just to say you did and get the experience. I know there's a guy, I'm going to look him up right here. I watch his thing. He's like known for doing Raspberry Pi stuff, and he does it all Kubernetes on Raspberry Pis. And he's a Drupal guy, and he does a bunch of other stuff. But that's how I know him, because he like spoke at a Drupal thing. But about using Ansible and Raspberry Pis to do stuff. And of course, like I go to YouTube and I'm like, I know I subscribed to him. I guess he hasn't posted this week because I don't see anything. Can't I go subscribe? Oh, his name Jeff Geerling is him, and so he does Kubernetes and Ansible and stuff on like a Raspberry Pi clusters, and I think he just does it because it's fun to learn and do stuff. But if you don't have multiple servers, I don't know if there's any point besides just saying, "Hey, I did a thing." But I mean, it would be cool. I mean, I'm not gonna move all my servers to use Kubernetes. I'm just gonna keep doing Docker stuff for my personal servers. Okay, so one thing that our setup has a sample settings.php, and I'm just gonna I paste that in, and what it is I probably need to remove that. So what it is Drupal has a settings.php that it uses to know how to connect to the database and everything like that, and we have it set up to pull all the environment variables for everything, and then in Doxel you can set your environment variables here, and then they go in just like you would on the actual live site, so that we can use the same settings file locally and in prod, because it's all just environment variable based. So I needed to go get that there, and let me skip the step of set up your database, because I don't want to type that in, because it would generate the settings file for me. So it's going to go ahead and do that, and I luckily just upgraded my home computer to a desktop, and it's running a Ryzen 9 3900X, and so it just blows through this stuff so fast. It's amazing. Great. Site name should be Code Koalas. And I'm going to go ahead and set that to my email, because I don't care if people get that from the stream. Admin. And the password will be super insecure, because I'm not going to put a real password while streaming. That's dumb. I mean, I feel like I'm always like, should we be setting things like this? I don't know. Seems like it. I mean, we do have a physical location on this time zone, so it seems like we should say that that's where our website belongs to. So now this is a very important thing. Do you want your website to check for updates automatically? That's nice, but you don't want to get emails about it, because you know what's going to happen? You're going to get an email every stinking day that something's out of date, which is nice to know, because you should update it. But I bet you if I go to the status report, I bet you something's out of date. Maybe not. Great. Look at everything seems to like have just actually worked. Available updates. Well, look at that. I mean, yeah, they're Drupal core update, but that's it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do things through the GUI right now, though I normally wouldn't. I just don't actually remember what modules we want. I'm going to do it this way. So you can learn the Doxel command. So now we're here. Okay, so what we should actually do, we should do like a git add everything. That's everything. Do like a git commit fresh d8 install. Boom. And push that stuff up so we don't lose our work. Okay, and we don't want like a single commit of like, hey, and now there's a whole website. Git history has a use. Okay, so I'm going to go through here and find the default modules, because there is no ticket in here of get the modules. So that's something I would normally do, and this is normally how I do it actually, is I go through, I normally am the one who does like the initial git repo spin up, and I go through and like, oh, do we want this? Do we want that? Do we want that? And now like content moderation, this is one like we might want that. So content moderation allows you to, let me look at this, just checking that I still have hard drive space as I'm recording this. So content moderation allows you to write a blog, and then it'll send it to approval from someone. Oh, it says there's a network error. Let me refresh this. Ooh. Oh, I killed my VPN. Let me confirm that I am still actually live. It says offline. Stop streaming. I'll start streaming again. Stopping stream. Ah! Okay, I'm gonna stop.